QC in the first break.
QC in the first break. Thank you.
And away we go, ladies and gentlemen, the midweek edition of the Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Welcome in. Great to be with you. I am Rob Brown, the great one. Hashtag Decades Colonel Grudge, the alpha and the omega of the Fan Upstate, the conductor of the symphony of sound that is the Rob Brown Show. He is the professor of perfection, the sultan of swag, the wizard of wave himself. Lonzo is with us as well. What up, Zo?
Sorry, I'm fixing something.
You're working.
Yes, I'm fixing something. There we go.
What's the work?
You were not muted. So I took care of
gotcha.
that because our people on the stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter are looking out.
The Robots.
Still don't like it. Still don't like
I
it.
could tell.
Yeah, still don't like it.
Join us on the stream, facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate. Search the Fan Upstate on YouTube or go to Twitch and search the Rob Brown Show. You can not only watch the show, but you can interact with me, with Lonzo, and with the other members of the Rob Brown Armada in the stream comments as well.
You know, there's another way that you can do all that interaction coming up a week from tomorrow, and that's when we are live from Twin Peaks in Greenville.
Correct. Twin Peaks, Woodruff Road in the GVL. We will be live from 9 to noon. We'll be on the air just like normal. But Lonzo and I are also going to hang out afterwards as well. You can come by, chat us up, potentially grab some swag. And then after the show is over, your boys are going to sit down and have some of that fresh from scratch food. And one of you boys is going to knock back a 29-degree brewski or two.
I don't know if you saw this, but I did hear our brother station, 93.3, The Planet, talking about this. But the Rise guys are going to be there from noon to 3.
What?
So maybe it's time for that tag team match we've been thinking about having.
I mean, maybe we don't tear up the inside of Twin Peaks.
We can set up an
Parking lot?
impromptu. Yeah, I mean, parking lot. Why not?
So you got Robin Zoe 9 to noon. Doors open at 11. Then you got the Rise guys, who I'm assuming are not going live. They're just coming to hang out because this event is presented by P1 P1 Pilsner this year.
Yeah,
right?
they have this thing that they're
It's beer.
they're trying to sell. Yeah,
It's beer. They have beer, which means they're going to have beer there. We knew that already. It's the 29-degree draft beer at Twin Peaks, but there'll be some P1 brewskis there as well alongside the Rise guys from noon to 3. And then at 3 o'clock, the DJ MARC and the Diesel take over for Offsides. They'll take you from 3 to 7. And then at 7, not only will they be hanging out for the NFL draft, but on top of that, we'll also have CBS national draft coverage right here on the air. So if you are one of those unfortunate few that are going to be out and about during the draft that evening, you click it right over to 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and you will be able to listen to CBS Sports Radio national coverage of the draft and nothing else for the duration of the first
All right, I have one little correction because we only speak kind of that other program, and because we should, because they're awesome people.
Yes, I know Mark's not an actual DJ.
Yeah, but Diesel is not
Diesel
only
is a DJ,
not
that's
he's
true.
not only is he a DJ in this market, but in another market
That's
because he
true.
just got picked up in another market. That's how good he is. So I think you're disparaging the real DJ on that show.
That's true. It's the MARC. It should be MCMARC.
Yes.
And DJ.
I mean, you
Diesel.
missed
I
a
screwed the
perfect
pooch.
opportunity. But yes,
Try that again.
not only is Diesel good enough to be a DJ in this area, but he's also in, I believe it's New Orleans.
I thought he had Chattanooga.
There we go. I don't know.
I think it's Chattanooga.
I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know. He's worldwide. I mean, so if I'm wrong about one, he'll be there eventually,
Hoorah, hoorah.
spinning them hits and stuff.
How about DJ Diesel and MCMARC? As Diesel and Mark take off with offsides,
All right,
we
all right,
will
all
be
right.
there
So,
for
we'll,
the Rob Brown show.
one of us will pay for this, but it's got to be country rap, doesn't it? I mean, it just has to be. It's the latest thing. So I mean,
Diesel is going to be furious about that.
I was
Furious.
I was
about
more
that.
shooting for the other person. But that's fine. That's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, next Thursday, we will be there from 9 to noon. Doors open at 11. We'll be hanging out with the Rise guys from noon to 3, and then Mark and Diesel take over from 3 to 7 and take you up to the draft when the Carolina Panthers select Bryce Young with the number 1 overall pick in the National Football League draft.
Not
We'll do
happening.
a lot of analysis between here and there.
What's the point of even watching the first 15, 20 minutes of the draft since you already decided that?
Well, the first 15, 20 minutes is going to be like coverage and discussion and drama and storylines. But then at about 30 minutes in is when Bryce Young.
So if you're not listening to it on the radio, which you should, but if you're watching it on TV, which do you prefer, NFL Network or ESPN?
Well, me personally, I just have multiple TVs, so I can flip back and forth.
Yeah,
every
but
night.
in that, I mean, that's
But if I only get one, I'm going NFL Net. That's not a shot at Kuiper and the gang over on the 4-letter. It's just NFL Network deep dives hard.
all right. Come on, man.
And I'm a dork.
I'm tired of Kuiper's hair, so I just don't. And when he's wrong, he just has this look on his face like he's not wrong. The team is wrong for not saying doing what he said.
Remember a number of years ago, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you, there are some things that other people do in the media that teach me lessons as the young and upcoming broadcaster that I am. Mel Kiper Jr. taught me why you don't make guarantees on the air. Do you remember, Great One, a number of years ago when Jimmy Clausen was coming out of Notre Dame, and Mel Kiper Jr. not only rated him number 1 in that class, but he rated him his highest graded draft prospect of all time, and said on the air, if Jimmy Clausen is not an all NFL player, I will quit this job. He said, in fact, I'll even go out. Let me see if I can find the actual quote.
See, if I recall, one Colin Cowherd was like over the moon for Jimmy Clausen also.
Yeah.
And no offense to Jimmy Clausen, but when he came out, it looked like someone like squished his head.
Here it
just
is.
didn't look right.
Here it is. Quote, if Jimmy Clausen is not a successful quarterback in the NFL, I'm done. That's it. I'm out. Todd McShay said, what is your time frame, Mel? When do we make that assessment? Kuiper said, I want 8 years. McShay said it will only take 3 years, Mel. We can tell inside 3 years. Kuiper said, I want 8. Well, in 2018, when that time clock ran out, Jimmy Clausen had been out of the league for 3 years after playing with the Panthers, Bears, and Ravens. His final stat line, 22 games, 2,520 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. A stat line that I would very much not define as successful, quote, end quote. Yet, Kuiper's still on TV. Now,
has anyone made an Anthony Richardson guarantee?
no. And for the record, that right there, that's why Rob doesn't make guarantees. I have made in my broadcasting career, there has been one draftable quarterback that I have said, that guy's going to be a star. I'd bet a paycheck on it. Not my career, but a paycheck on it. And that was Lamar Jackson. It's the only guy that I went, that guy's a star. Bona fide, certified before he shows up in the league.
Well, what makes
that
you a
guy's
star, though? I mean, as the people know who you are, I guess makes you a star. Yeah, I mean,
When you're a star, you're a star.
okay, so winning playoff games.
It's
is
like
not what-
porn. I can't define it, but I know it when I see it.
Okay,
Lamar's a star.
okay.
We should just call him Lastar Jackson.
Who's he play for?
Probably the Baltimore Ravens.
Does he?
Probably. We'll find out. They got Odell, and now Lamar just watched a QB who took his team to the Super Bowl get a contract of, what was it, 255, 179 point some change guaranteed. That's about what Lamar's going to get. And at some point, Lamar's got to say yes. We'll talk about that later in the show. Maybe, possibly, potentially, we'll see. He's got to say yes at some point. Jalen just took the Eagles to a Super Bowl, got more potential money than Deshaun Watson, but about 50 mil fewer guaranteed. And at some point, Lamar's got to accept that. Listen, I think there's probably 25 teams that would love to have Lamar Jackson as a quarterback. There are 0 teams that want to give him Cleveland Brown, Deshaun Watson money. That is not an indictment on Lamar Jackson's ability. That's how dumb the Browns are.
Ain't nobody calling as far as we know. I'd like to know who those 25 teams are.
Correct, because nobody wants to give 230 guaranteed.
Nobody wants to change their entire offense and how things are structured.
It has nothing to do with all that.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. Because there are people there that you got to go, okay, he's not going to get the ball anymore, so he's not going to be happy. So we got to get rid of him. We'll have to bring someone in. It's a little more complimentary. We need to change how our offensive line blocks. All that. It does change your structure. If it didn't, they wouldn't have had to come out and say a couple of years ago, we're going to change how we do things to fit how Lamar plays football.
All right, let me ask you this. If you are, say, the Tennessee Titans, you are changing for Lamar because you're not good, right? If your team's not good, then you are absolutely willing to change what you do for a franchise quarterback like Lamar Jackson.
Maybe he fits there because they're built around the running game. Then you've got 2 really strong runners if you bring him there. I'm not doing the thing where he can't pass, he needs to change positions. He absolutely can pass. He can do all that stuff. But there are some things that he does better, and Baltimore at least changed how they did things to get him to be able to do that. And he didn't take them where they wanted him to go. And eventually, you move on.
It is easier to name the teams.
And sometimes when you bet on yourself, you lose.
It is easier to name the teams that should not change for Lamar than to name the teams that should. Buffalo should not change anything. Cincinnati should not change anything. Jacksonville should not change anything. Kansas City, the Chargers should not change anything. That's the entire list of AFC teams who should not change for Lamar Jackson. In the NFC, the Eagles should not change anything. Panthers, because they've got the number 1 pick, and the 49ers. Those are the only teams in the NFC that shouldn't change anything for Lamar Jackson. It is not about not changing stuff. It's about the fact that nobody wants to go $230 million guaranteed for a guy who there are questions about his ability to finish a full 17-game season. That's it. All right, coming up on the radio broadcast today, we have got a lot of things to get to. We are going to be talking NBA playoff series. Why? Because we had a couple of games last night that were not good. Sorry to my guy Brandon on the stream, but the Celtics destroyed the Hawks last night. We're going to talk about that. Phoenix and the Clippers was pretty good. On the other hand, the Knicks game was not. So we'll talk about the NBA playoff series coming up very shortly. Speaking of playoff series, how about the NHL? The Canes of Carolina one up on the Islanders from the Big Apple. Can they make it 2 before they got to go on the road? We'll talk about that. It is match day in the Ville. The Greenville Triumph are at home tonight at Paladin Stadium this evening. We'll be talking a little Triumph football later on in the radio broadcast. Stay tuned for that coming up later on in the show. The Atlanta Braves have now won 8 in a row, including 2 in a row against the Padres, the only team that gave them some trouble earlier in the season. And the Braves are getting guys back now. We're going to talk about that. Some more stories coming out regarding the Bryce Young camp and potential draft pick, including a whole press conference yesterday conducted by Scott Fitterer, where he said a few things about BY. We're going to talk about that. It is a stacked, locked, and loaded show coming your way. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, is on the other side of the metaphorical glass. The Gilstrap Family Dealerships.com phone line is open for you right now at 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. The text line is open at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. A lot to get to. 3 hours of greatness starts now on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, got a live read. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. Stick around.
Getrefunds.com. Getrefunds.com.
So I don't know if this is just me, but there's satisfaction to, and there shouldn't be, to be about to exit a door, we'll say the restroom, and someone is walking in. Just a look of sheer horror and surprise every time. And then look at you like it's your fault. It's not my fault. I'm just trying to leave the room, you know? I still wonder what? Did you hear that? Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships. Here. No?
That ain't it for me.
Why?
That ain't it for me.
Why? So all that breaking down that we do of like parking lot fights, you don't want to see it in real life? You don't want to be ringside? You don't want to get some blood on you?
No. I am considering UFC Fight Night in Charlotte, though.
So the only difference is they have gloves on.
Yeah. The Rob Brown Show is back on your radio. It is the Fan Upset. There's my Hawks fan, Brandon, showing up after his team got worked last night. But thank God for the Braves. The Hawks series is hard to watch. Yeah, I spent a few minutes on Hawks Celtics last night, but when the C's went on a 17-3 run to end the first, it's like, all right, check back into the fourth. Hopefully it's close. It was not. It was not. Speaking of the NBA, Draymond caught a 1-game suspension. He is out for game 3. And the NBA played it smart. The NBA said he got the 1-game suspension because of his history of violent outburst, which is, yes, right? Like I might, maybe, possibly, potentially could have given Draymond Green the benefit of the doubt for the stomp on Sabonis if I hadn't literally watched him kick Steven Adams Karate Kid style right in the junk last year.
It's when you're a repeat offender, don't expect to be treated the way other people are.
Yeah. How people react to you is largely based on your personality, your reputation, your past behavior, etc. Right? You can, how do I say this without it sounding terrible? You can get away with more if you've never been in trouble for that thing before, right? If
well,
you
it's
make,
depending on what it is. I mean, you know,
right?
Yeah, I mean,
not like stabbing somebody.
Yeah, if like at work, let's say you do something and they go, yeah, he's never done that before. We just
Right.
kind of like, you know, that type of thing.
Right. If I don't know, if I'm trying to think of a relevant example. Here, I'll nah, that's a bad one. Anyway, the point is, if somebody makes here you go, somebody makes an off-color joke that crosses a line, but they've never done that before, your group is probably going to be a little bit more forgiving than if somebody repeatedly makes off-color jokes, have been asked multiple times to stop, and they continue, right? If the situation was flipped, if Draymond had grabbed Sabonis by the ankle and Sabonis stepped on him and then came out and was like, dude, I was trying to get away from him. I had nowhere else to put my foot. It wasn't intentional. Maybe he gets the benefit of the doubt. But let's be real here. Draymond has a history of crap like this. And once you kick a dude in the nads, you pretty much lose the right to the benefit of the doubt, man. You pretty much lose the bet. It's not yours anymore because you're the type of dude that kicks another dude in the stones. You lose whatever benefit of the doubt you might have had. So anybody defending Draymond today, I'd like to know why.
I do believe that what he did after also added to the fact that he got
Oh,
suspended,
without a doubt.
turning to the crowd, screaming at the top of his lungs at all the guys in the crowd, which could easily have incited something that got a whole lot worse.
Yeah. If Draymond showed any remorse at all, if he walked over Sabonis while he was on the floor and patted him on the back and gave him the my bad, if he went over to the bench, and if he just went to the bench and sat down.
And let's talk about the bench. I mean, if you're high-fiving some guy when he does that, you're saying that you're good with it.
Yeah.
And it looked like one guy couldn't see who it was at the end of the bench, didn't want to give him any. And he stuck there till he finally gave him some. And it's like, okay, if I'm on the bench, I'm not, it's condoning it. It's not supporting your teammate. What you're saying is what your teammate did was right.
Here's the thing. You and I both know the Dubs in their head were like, guess we're playing game 3 without Draymond.
Again.
Guess we're playing the next one without Draymond. Down 2 games. Guess we're playing the first one back home without Dre. They knew what was happening. So what did they do? They were going to make every excuse that they could come up with to try to earn Draymond some benefit of the doubt to try and avoid the suspension. That's all it was, right? Even Clay, I think Clay came out. And Klay Thompson is not considered to be a dirty player or a bad guy like Draymond is. And even Clay was like, oh, we know Draymond probably overreacted a little bit. Like a guy had him by the ankle, could have broke his ankle for God's sakes.
I'm curious if he got the X-rays and what the X-rays said.
Yeah, you and I both know what they're going to say. Draymond, it turns out after X-raying your ankle, after doing the MRI, after doing some diagnostic images, that we have found out that you have a wild case of being a punkitis in your ankle. Who knew? You have a rampant case of not a good guyism going on in your ankle. It's a very serious case, man.
But if he decides to go to WWE, he now has run-in experience and what to do when you're
and a finishing move.
Yes,
he's
without
got a
doubt.
finisher. 100%, he's got a finisher. He just stomps on your chest and gets the 3 count, right? Which, by the way, is still a better finisher than the Hogan leg drop, but that's a different conversation for a different time.
His legs were very heavy.
Python's brother. Point is, Draymond catching a 1-gamer is not only expected, it's deserved. All right? If you flipped it and it was Dre grabbing Sabonis's ankle, somebody called me on this yesterday. They thought they thought me backed in a corner. I said yesterday after the show was over that if the situation was flipped, if Sabonis had grabbed Dre's ankle and Sabonis had stomped him and then came out afterwards and was like, hey, man, he had me by the ankle. I was about to fall. I tried to catch myself, and unfortunately, I put my feet down right where Dre's chest was. I might, maybe, possibly, potentially, theoretically, could look at that and go, all right, makes sense. But Dre, you quite literally raised the leg, looked down at the chest, stop, right? There's a difference between I put my foot down to catch myself versus I was aiming to bruise his sternum, which, by the way, Sabonis got his X-rays back and has a bruised sternum. He is day-to-day and questionable for game 3.
Yes, he has a sternum contusion. Still, yeah, okay.
Which, by the way, if you've never had a contusion, they suck. They suck.
What is a contusion?
It's
exactly?
like a real deep bruise.
Ah,
right.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
You ever had a sturdy bruise that you can feel when you move it?
Yeah. And
okay.
You
It's
continue to bump it. Unfortunately.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's like that, but way worse. Giannis has got a lower back contusion, and he is doubtful for game 3. Giannis Antetokounmpo, who does not miss games. Does not load manage Giannis Antetokounmpo, is doubtful for game 3 because of the back contusion. So I can't imagine. Let me put it this way. So you ever had a cracked rib?
I've had bruised ribs, yes.
Yeah. I've had bruised ribs. In fact, I had a bruised/cracked rib combo once.
I had a guy when I would get through the offensive line when I was playing defensive tackle, and he would punch me as hard as he could in the ribs to the point at halftime it was yellow and blue all around my ribs. And my coach kicked my leg and said, "You ain't bleeding."
Yeah.
It was a different mentality back then, okay? I'm sure they don't do that anymore.
You got to hope not. Anyway, I had a cracked bruised rib combo. And for about 2.5 months, it hurt to breathe. It hurt to stand. It hurt to sit. It hurt to lay down. It hurt to breathe. It hurt to hold my breath. It hurt to laugh. It hurt to walk. It just hurt all the time. And there's nothing you can do. I can't imagine being in that spot where breathing hurts and being expected to go down into the paint and play in an NBA game. So yes, the fact that Sabonis is out is completely unsurprising.
Yeah,
and the
but
fact
that hurts
Dre caught
worse.
a one-gamer is absolutely appropriate.
If Sabonis doesn't play, that hurts worse than Draymond Green not playing.
Correct.
Because Sacramento needs Sabonis a lot more.
Yes, to some degree.
I mean,
will
that team
point
is
out-
really good. Watching the game the other day, the overall team is really good.
Yeah,
But he is kind of their toughness.
He
Their
facilitates, yeah.
he does.
he demands you draw in. He facilitates. I'm not disagreeing.
He's
Now-
also the guy that the other team wants to fight for some reason. I don't know what he's saying out there. Maybe it's just his look or something, but everybody on the other team seems to want to fight him.
Sometimes you need that guy. The Dubs without Dre win at about a 33% clip. They are significantly worse of a team without Dre. But the fact that Sabonis has got to sit, well, more than likely will sit, it is absolutely appropriate that Draymond kicks Steven Adams in the gonads green should have to sit as well. No question marks. If I went yesterday because I was just curious to see who, if anybody, was going to defend Draymond. There's 2 groups that defend Draymond. One is Colin Cowherd, who you'll remember Draymond works for. Draymond's podcast is produced, edited, and platformed by Colin Cowherd's podcast network. So, of course, Colin's going to stump for literally his coworker. The other group of people who are defending Draymond are old hat basketball fans who are like, yeah, that's what the soft NBA needs right there. Bro, just go watch UFC, my guy. Just go watch UFC. If you like that, if you like a dude on the ground getting his chest caved in, then go watch UFC. Actually, don't, because that's illegal in UFC. Do you know why it's illegal to stomp on the chest of a downed fighter in the UFC? Because you could kill them. You can kill a guy like that, right? Now, I'm not saying this is more likely than any other situation that might take place in the paint. But do you remember what it was that put DeMar Hamlin into cardiac arrest? Remember when DeMar died on the field and got resuscitated and we killed off a Monday Night Football game because of it? Remember that? Or Thursday night game, whatever it was? Remember that? That was because a guy hit DeMar Hamlin directly in the sternum and it stopped his heart. Now, freak accidents are going to happen. But when you stomp a dude in the chest, it's never going to end well, right? If I'm at a bar and I see a bar fight, that's justified. If one dude gets put on the ground and the other dude stomps on his chest, that fight's over. You break it up at that point. It's over. That guy won. We're done here. So I'm fine if you want to be the guy who goes, oh, the NBA is soft. SAWFT, soft. That's fine if you want to be that guy. And I can even disagree, but understand where you're coming from. But do you understand there is a difference between two guys battling to grab a ball off the glass versus a down player having his chest caved in by another guy who has a history of repeatedly doing crap like this? I genuinely cannot understand anybody defending Draymond Green in this situation. Again, Zoe, if it was his first defense, maybe I let him skate with a warning. But I can't tell you what offense this is for Dre. I don't like him. He deserves this. In fact, I would go so far as to say, Lonzo, he's lucky it's a game. Because if I'm the commish, you are out for every game. You're out one game plus every game that Sabonis can't play in.
Yeah, that would only be fair.
Yep.
But we don't know for sure that Sabonis won't be back. I mean,
we don't.
He's questionable right now, so he seems pretty tough. So if he can go, I think he'll go. But if you're the coach of the team and this guy does this repeatedly, you would, maybe you should sit him down yourself. But we know he's not going to do that.
It's professional sports, dude. Professional sports. The Dubs are going to protest the suspension in the first place because winning over everything. Texture says, fan, I have had costochondritis, inflammation in my sternum, and it hurt to do everything, especially breathe. That's from Jacob at Spartanburg. Yeah, this guy's got a sternum contusion. All the little muscles in your chest that hold your breastplate in place between your rib cage, those can be bruised, and it hurts like a lot.
Well, I had a bunch of things happen to me at once, including a hiatal hernia, which is right there. So every once in a while when I do stupid things like pretend like I'm Chris Farley and hit myself, I still feel it. And, I'd never had surgery because they said it should get better. But every time I hit myself, I feel like it didn't. So I definitely know what that feels like. And that's a big guy. That's a big foot coming down on your chest. I mean, look how big that foot is coming down on his chest. The problem is with the NBA and with a lot of sports in general, not football, but other sports where flopping and things like that are known to happen. Immediately you question whether that person's hurt or not. And they will all act like, oh, I just got poked in the eye, and then they'll replay it and you don't see anything anywhere near their eye. But there is no doubt that foot came down on his chest.
Oh, yeah. 100%. That was absolutely what it was.
And he was airborne. I mean, he jumped up.
I will say this. Sabonis is a freaking dude, man. He's a freaking one of those Eastern European players. If that dude can breathe, he will go. I don't have any doubt about it, which is why I've said it should be a 1-game suspension, plus he has to sit for as long as Sabonis has to sit. It's that simple to me. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute from now. Got some more stuff to get into. A couple more NBA stories as the playoffs are well underway. But the draft is a week away from tomorrow. Week away from tomorrow. We'll be live at Twin Peaks on Woodruff Road in Greenville. There is one variable off the board that makes the first 5, 6, 7 picks much more interesting. I'll tell you what it is when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. What would it take for Draymond to get banned from the NBA? I mean, if you believe the conspiracy theory that Jordan got sent away because of gambling on the league, and I don't know how many people do or don't.
Yeah, come on. Lambeer, those guys, they never got banned. Dennis Rodman never got banned.
It was definitely a different time.
It was.
It's not going to happen. I'm just glad to see the suspension happening. James said Calvert's defending Draymond again like a business partner would. He said every good team had an enforcer. The Pistons had Lambert. An enforcer is fine. A tough guy is fine. A goon is fine. But there is a difference between guy who goes into the paint and bows up and makes you regret driving to the rack versus a WWE curb stomp, right? If Lambert would have curb stomped somebody in the 90s, he also would have caught a suspension. Now, if Draymond let Sabonis get up and they went after it, nobody's getting suspended for that. They just go, hey, don't do that again. But that's not what happened. He literally kicked the dude while he was down.
The Greenville Triumph Soccer Club returns to the field for a midweek match this Wednesday, April 19th, as they take on Central Valley Fuego FC at 7:30 p.m. Gates open at 6:30, so bring your friends, coworkers, or group for a happy hour before the soccer kicks off at 7:30. Join the Triumph as they celebrate the club's 5th anniversary by visiting TriumphTix.com. That's TriumphTix.com for tickets, discount packages, and more. See you Wednesday for another triumphant night of professional soccer.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 minutes, and in 3 weeks,
And let the cops chase us around.
another language. Like magic.
I love the Babbel lessons.
Luke, what's up, big dog? Welcome in. Kevin, good morning, big dog. Green was in the right. Let him the duck go. I'd stomped him to bleep the suspension. No. Nope. Sorry.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Someone just compared Bryce Young's height to the gingerbread man.
Need them all. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor.
I love well, he's dealt with being this height all his life. Yes, he has, but not in the NFL. He hasn't. Admittedly, I don't know what it's like to be short. Okay, I mean, you do what you can with what you have, but I don't know. Do you, Rob?
No.
I mean, you can sympathize a little bit, but you don't know what it's like.
Nope.
I don't know what it's like. We could walk around the building and ask just about everybody else who's short how it feels, but that would kind of be mean.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go, so I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partner with Beacon.
All right, Steven, don't you dare spoil.
Brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. It's like having my Beacon rep in my pocket 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Now for June, purchase through Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Beacon, always building.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, schools, and classrooms, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
always live from the Free Odyssey. More than a stop.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, and you. Good to have you guys. 844-326-3663. Text us 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. Texter said, Rob, if the Charlotte Hornets start to have winning seasons, can the Fan Upstate treat them as a local team? I admit there's not too much to talk about now, but there might be if we end up with the number one pick. I will go with a couple of things here. The answers, absolutely. Let me tell you something real quick. You guys as listeners, and when I say you guys, I mean literally American sports fans across the country, from somebody who's been in this game for a decade and a half at this point. You guys predominantly want to talk about teams that win, right? Either teams that win or teams that are directly your team, right? If you're a Clemson fan and South Carolina is winning, that impacts you. So you might be a little more interested to hear what's going on with them. But if you're a Clemson fan and South Carolina's bad, you don't really care. If you're a Clemson fan and Clemson is good, you want to hear about him. If you're a Clemson fan and Clemson's bad, you still want to hear about him. But if it ain't directly your team and they ain't good, y'all don't want to hear about him. I am happy to talk about the Hornets. LaMelo Ball's got decisions to make. He has said he is taking it day by day, year by year. Obviously, an injury-plagued year this year, but before he went down to that injury was having what could have been an all-star season. There is a question mark about the Hornets potentially landing Wembanyama out of France, which would be massive. A 7'1" guy who's got handles and a dagger three-pointer is a potential franchise-changing pick, and him paired with LaMelo would be deadly. We'll see. But if they start pulling it together, yeah, you'll get more Hornets talk. All right, let's talk draft for just one quick second. Carolina Panthers on the clock. I have told you guys that the pick is in. It's as good as announced. Bryce Young will be the number one overall pick and go to Carolina. I also yesterday threw out the one possibility that prevents that from happening. And that is a team on the hunt for a QB jumps up to number 3, flips with Arizona, and makes the move. Or the Houston Texans, who it has been reported are shopping the number 2 overall pick. The Texans, as they shop number 2, get a phone call from the Panthers who say, hey, if there is a guy that you want at number 1, right? Because it seems like the Texans wanted Bryce Young, and if they can't get Bryce Young, they're willing to wait a year and try to get Caleb Williams out of USC next year. So don't be shocked if the Texans make some trades this year, get some capital, package it all together to jump up, if they're not already there, to the number 1 pick next year to get their guy out of the program in LA. If the Texans are indeed looking at trading out of number 2, is it a possibility that the Panthers trade from 1 back to 2, accept CJ Stroud, let the Texans have BY and pick up some capital? Maybe. It's also possible that somebody jumps up to 3 with Arizona to get ahead of the Colts, thinking they're going to get Richardson. Carolina's happy with Anthony Richardson. They trade back to 3, pick up even more profit, and stay there. We'll find out. But per the press conference yesterday, sounds like Fitzy and the crew are basically saying the only way we move out of 1 is if somebody comes to us with an offer we just cannot refuse. That it would be silly to refuse for that pick. There is one team that is now off of that market. That is the New England Patriots. The Pats had been reportedly willing to shop Mac Jones around a little bit. There were multiple reports out of Foxborough that the Hoodie and Mac had butted heads one too many times. The Hoodie knows that despite his immense success in New England, he is now on the hot seat because the Pats have been very mid since Tom Brady left, and Hoodie's not been able to fix that. So the reports were that Hoodie was shopping Mac Jones because their relationship was bleeped. Who is the new offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots? Bill O'Brien. Where was Bill O'Brien most recently the offensive coordinator? The University of Alabama. Who did Bill O'Brien coach when he was the OC at the University of Alabama? Mac Jones. B.O.B. and MAC have a relationship that dates back a few years. I think part of the reason Bill O'Brien, a guy that most of us have given up on as an OC really at any level, got another opportunity under the Hoodie is because he once worked very well with Mac Jones. And he's going to try to recapture that flame. Mac has shown that he's got what it takes to be an NFL quarterback. He's just wildly inconsistent. So if Bob, B.O.B., can come in and get the best out of Mac Jones, then Mac Attack might be able to get it back together. And if Mac can get it together, maybe Hoodie's job is going to be a little bit more comfortable than it was. But if that is indeed the case, if that is indeed the direction the Patriots are going in, then the Patriots, a team that very much has quite a bit of capital behind them, are probably no longer a threat to move up to 3 to Arizona, as it was thought they might have been. So if the Patriots are out, the market value of Arizona's 3 pick, the market value of Houston's 2 pick decreases just a little bit. And that makes it, in my opinion, that much more likely that the Panthers stay at number 1 and select Bryce Young. You know when you'll be able to find out? A week from tomorrow. And you can get that day started by visiting the Great One at Twin Peaks on Woodruff Road. Doors open at 11. I'll be there too, in case you want to see the sidekick. Doors open at 11. You can tailgate from 9 till 11. Come in at 11. Get you some from scratch food, some 29-degree brewskis, and you can chat with Lonzo and I live and in person.
And when you do that, make sure you come up and say, bless your heart to Rob, because he's been taken in by the smoke screen and believing that Bryce Young is going to go number 1. We all know it's going to be CJ Stroud.
You willing to put a scoop of ranch ice cream on
He's
that?
been trying to convince people. You don't redo punishments. And so, no, I'm not. Are you willing to guarantee that Bryce Young's number 1?
No, I'm not Mel Kiper. However, I'd say I am willing to put a bet on it. I literally already have. If BY goes number 1 overall, I might go back to Twin Peaks on Friday because Rob Brown is going to have some beer money. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Get some more NFL draft talk in here as we are just a tick over a week away. We have got a few more other topics to get into, including the Greenville Triumph. They are back home tonight. Things have not gone well in the 2023 season for Harksy's boys. Can they get back on the right path tonight? We'll break that down and more, all coming up on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
listen what the reporter did and what Nick Saban did. For the Alabama fans out there, now washing dishes, roll tide. Washing windows, roll tide. Cleaning the toilets, roll tide. Taking out the trash, roll tide.
Cleaning the toilet is like Nick Saban, roll tide.
Same great show, new time.
The word turlet makes me laugh every time, without fail.
Makes me think of Archie Bunker.
Hello, I'm Howard Mackler, founder of Innovation Refunds. You've heard me talking about the payroll tax refund for months. I'm so proud that we've helped over 15,000 businesses claim over $5 billion in cash incentives. If you own a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. Every client is assigned a license and
Those are really good, Luke, especially the Dusty Rhodes one. That was excellent.
Woo!
Innovation Refunds has hundreds of 5-star reviews on Trustpilot and Google, and your business might be entitled to receive up to $26,000 per employee. Businesses of all types can qualify, including medical, professional, construction, even nonprofits. Please don't miss out on this. Even your doctor would tell you to get an expert second opinion, and we do a lot of work for doctors. Download the Innovation Refunds app now or go to getrefunds.com to potentially get a payroll tax refund of $26,000 per employee. Getrefunds.com. Getrefunds.com.
If you're hired, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last 10 years.
Yeah, me either. I've heard of San Martino, but I don't believe I ever saw him wrestle. Maybe I did. I don't know.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter. The smartest.
Baseball is back. The free Odyssey app lets you listen to local coverage for the team you love. Live stream your favorite sports radio station or jump back and listen to the best segments on demand.
Don't forget we talk to the manager every Tuesday at 2 p.m.
Don't listen to some guy from the other side of the country tell you about your team. Live conversations for your local team. No matter where you are, your season, your Odyssey. Get in the game and download the free Odyssey app today.
Twin Peaks is on the clock. You're invited to our draft day kickoff fueled by Rise Guys P1 Lager
At Twin Peaks in Greenville, Thursday, April 27th.
Sign up for prizes. Who's going number 1? It's the draft day kickoff party at Twin Peaks on Woodruff Road.
Parents, are you tired of helping put your kids' shoes on? They're squirming, watching cartoons, anything but helping. Luckily, it's Skechers to the rescue. Introducing new hands-free Skechers.
I mean, I probably saw some of those, Josh, because I was watching back in the 70s with my papaw, but I just don't remember San Martino. I know he was a big deal. Didn't exactly have the kind of flair that other wrestlers had. I kind of remember like Superstar Billy Graham and some guys like that, but they really, really stood out as a little kid. Love him or hate him, but Hulk Hogan is what brought, wrestling into a lot of living rooms. Can Rob make it back in the room before the intro plays? See, I think I hear him now. Told ya.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. If you like those series, I don't know if you guys were talking about it. Have you watched any Dark Side of the Ring?
Yeah.
Very intriguing stuff. go, ladies and gentlemen. Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the fan upstate. Rob Brown, the great one, Alonzo, with you on a beautiful upstate Wednesday afternoon. The midweek edition rolls on. 844-326-3663. That is the number to dial to get on the Gilstrap Family Dealerships.com phone line. 844-326-3663. You can text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. Zoe, the Yankees are a baseball team in New York City. You knew that already.
I did. I knew that.
They play at Yankee Stadium. I'm sure you knew that as well.
Well, it's a good place to play if
It
you're
is.
the Yankees. Yes.
Very appropriately named. A couple of days ago, the Yankees had a little birthday party. The Yankees had a birthday party to celebrate the 100th birthday of Yankee Stadium, which is kind of cool, right? It's kind of fun. Except for they demolished the old Yankee Stadium and now play in a completely different building than they used to. Fair or foul for the New York Yankees, Zoe. Fair or foul for the New York Yankees to hold a 100th birthday party for a stadium that does not exist, that they intentionally demolished in order to build a new stadium that makes them more money.
Yeah, it's kind of disingenuous because it hasn't been there 100 years. So yeah.
The Red Sox threw a 100th birthday party for Fenway Stadium, Fenway Park.
Has it been there 100 years?
Sure has.
Okay. All right.
And
So that's genuine. Okay.
Not only has it been there 100 years, they've played baseball in it for 100 years. The Chi-Town Cubs have done so for Wrigley Field, another stadium that is actually 100 years old. Those are just fine. Except for old Yankee Stadium is not only not 100 years old, it didn't make it to 100 years because it got demolished back in 2009. In fact, I know for a fact that it got demolished back in 2009 because I literally watched it happen.
You ever watch those home shows where they flip houses and they redo things and they bring like a piece of something from like someone's grandparents' house and they incorporate it into the building of the new house? Did they do that with the Yankees? Did they bring like pieces of the old stadium there?
You know, that's a fantastic question.
Because if they did, then maybe that's how they get by with celebrating, because parts of the stadium might actually still be in the new stadium.
That's a fantastic question that I do not have the answer to. I'm going to say a solid maybe. I'm going to say that's a strong possibility that they did so. In fact, I would even like to believe they did. Maybe they bring over a little bit of bedrock and lay it in the foundation. Maybe they bring over a couple of seats and set them up in the outfield. Maybe.
That way you can celebrate a piece. You're celebrating a piece of Yankees Stadium.
Correct. But can we also recognize that again, the building you're in is not Yankee Stadium? If you would like to celebrate the house that the Babe built, that's fine. But like, I'm literally on the street right now showing you the video of old Yankee Stadium being ripped apart. It's not 100 years old, Yankees.
Yeah, but they didn't blow the thing up. So I mean,
No, they literally took it apart piece by piece.
Yeah, so there's a good shot that pieces of that stadium are actually in the new stadium.
I agree, but it's not. It's. You ever heard the ship of Theseus comparison?
No, I have not.
Okay,
I don't think.
so it's an old philosophical, it's an old thought experiment, right? If you take the ship that Theseus sailed on, and it starts to age, right? And you pull up, there's a plank of wood and it rots, and you pull up the plank of wood and you replace it with a new plank of wood. Is it still the ship of Theseus? Sure. And then you do a second, and a third, and a fourth, and a fifth, and a sixth, and a seventh, and an eighth, and a ninth, and a 10th, and a 99th, and a 100th, and then a 1,000th. At what point does it stop being the ship of Theseus and start being a new ship?
Did Theseus, is he the guy who built it? If he's the one who replaces the boards, then it's still.
I think you're looking at it in antiquity, right? You go into a museum and there's the ship of Theseus, and you've got it on exhibit. And one day, one of the boards falls off. It's just so old, it falls off, and you replace it with a new board, and then another piece falls off, and you replace it with a new board, and another piece falls off. At some point,
if Theseus is not involved with the replacing, then it's no longer the ship. But if it's
right, but at what point is it no longer the ship, right? Because if I would say if there's one
when the last board is replaced, probably
there's just the last board. So at some point you could say that is an original board from the ship of Theseus connected to a replacement, right? Next to a model, if you will. So when it's 49% new wood and 51% old wood, is it still the ship of Theseus? When it's 75-25, is it still, right? At some point, it stops being the ship of Theseus, or at some point, it stops being old Yankee Stadium. So even if you brought over, 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 100 cross beams from old Yankee Stadium and repurposed them, or you brought over maybe 50 chairs, like old seats from old Yankee Stadium, right? I mean, I guess maybe you could throw a little party around that. But I just think it's ridiculous when 14 years ago? 14 years ago, you ripped down the old stadium, and now you're celebrating the stadium that doesn't exist anymore so that you could make a new stadium that makes you more money, which, again, there's nothing wrong with that. Teams are constantly ripping down old stadiums and building up new stadiums that are more fan-friendly and more convenient and more technologically updated and give you a better experience, because let's be real. I'm more willing to spend more money if I know I'm going to go into a stadium that's more comfortable to watch a game than if you're going to cram me into a stadium that's 100 years old from back when Americans were skinny. You ever been a fat guy in a thin stadium seat? It will ruin the day for you.
It messes with your hips.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
And on top of that, if you're in a fat guy in a thin stadium seat with fat guys on both sides of you, it's a nightmare.
Especially if one of them's a man spreader.
Yeah, it's an absolute nightmare. So if I go to a new stadium, it's got wider seats, technological advances. Like there's
Yay, fat America.
Yeah. There's I think in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Lonzo, I can go on my phone, pull up an app, and order a beer, and they'll bring it to my seat. I don't even have to go to the concession stand anymore. They'll just bring my fat ass the hot dog to my chair. That's incredible.
I'll say it's kind of lazy, but it's also convenient, and
and I don't have to miss any of the game.
There you go. Okay.
I don't have to,
especially now that the game's been sped up.
Right. So you go to a Braves game. You'll bring my hot dog and my brewski to my chair, and I don't have to miss 5 outs of the game standing in a concession line with all the other cows. I'm going to feel better about my life.
Is that like a herd?
I guess it would be. So there you go. Texture said, my sister insisted on visiting at Yankee Stadium in the old spot across the street. There's not even a marker. There was no recognition other than, hang on, let me find the other half of that text. There was no recognition other than really crappy old fields. That's from Luke. Yeah. You don't even celebrate old Yankee Stadium with like a plaque where it stands now, according to Luke. But you're going to certainly throw it. Just stop. Just say it's a cash grab. All right. Let's get to some other stuff before we move on. How about this? We got this earlier in the week. I haven't gotten a chance to get to it because I'm selfish. It's my show, and I would rather actually talk about games that are happening than anything else. But I'll get to it now. Earlier this week, the NBA made some announcements. Now, I have been told that the NBA is dying because it's SAWFT soft. I've been told the league's dying. Now, if you don't believe the league, that's on you and that's fine. But according to the NBA, they established records this year for total attendance, average attendance, percentage of capacity, and sellouts. The league claimed 791 sellouts this season, eclipsing the record of the 2018-2019 season of 760 sellouts. So 31 more sellouts over the course of the season. According to the release, the league's arenas were filled to an all-time high 97% capacity. The league's total attendance number this year was 22,234,502, which broke the old record of 22,124,559 set during the 2017-2018 season. Now, it was aided because the Spurs and the Dubs played in the Alamo Dome. 68,253 fans were in that game. So it eclipsed the previous mark by about 109,000 in a year in which the NBA hosted one game in a football arena with almost 70,000 at a single game. That's incredible. The regular season is only the second in NBA history in which total attendance exceeded 22 million. For the first time in NBA history, games averaged more than 18,000 fans. There were 18,077 per game, according to the NBA. It is the first time the NBA has ever had over 18,000 fans per game on average. Last year, the NBA was considering shortening the regular season to cut down on star players resting and load managing. They were trying to quell certain teams' allegiance to load management strategies. And it turns out, even in the age of load management, according to the league, fans, at least in NBA cities, were more willing to, more able to, and did go to more games in greater numbers than in the entirety of the history of the National Basketball Association. I think there's a couple of reasons for that. I think the first is there is no one dominant team this year, right? There are a few teams that, at least going into the playoffs, felt like they were a threat to win the title. The Bucks, the Celtics, the 76ers, the Cavaliers in the East were all within 7 games of each other. Below them, Knicks fans were very optimistic this year. Nets fans started that way. Over in the West, the Nuggets, the Grizz, the Kings, and the Suns were all within 8 games of each other. The Clips and the Warriors were both considered favorites, both within 1 game of the 4th spot. But I think there's also more than that. Look at the teams that were competing and hopeful this year. The Lakers started off incredibly sluggish. Now, the Staples Center, CryptBro.com arena, is always going to be sold out for the Lakers. There's 90 billion people in LA. They're going to have 30,000 show up for every game. The T-Wolves. Minnesota's very optimistic about that team. The Thunder, the Pelicans, all play-in teams, all very optimistic about their future in the West. Over in the East, my man Brandon's watching the stream right now. The Atlanta Hawks fans believe the Miami Heat, once they brought Kevin Love down, added a dynamic to the offense they didn't have. People started to believe. Chicago Bulls fans believe they're a piece away. Toronto Raptors just a couple of years removed from the NBA Finals. Now, Fred VanVleet might be leaving at the end of the year, but they believe they were close. There are 20 teams in the NBA right now out of 30 that were either championship caliber, optimistic that with a few balls bouncing the right way in the playoffs, they could be there, or, hey, we're one piece away, right? I believe as a Pellies fan, if Zion Williamson plays, the Pelicans are no worse than the 4 seed in the West. We're that close. The Kings have been a laughing stock in the league this year. What are they doing now? Oh, nothing. They're just up 2-0 against the Dubs, headed back to Golden State. That's kind of huge. There are more teams in the NBA right now that are either threats, close to threats, or their fans believe that they are going to be a threat in the next year or two. And it proves once again that if a team freaking tries, if they just try to put together a contender, you're going to rile up the fan base. Trey and Atlanta have done it. The Milwaukee Bucks have for years been considered a small market team, right? Giannis shows up. They build a competitive team around him. The Bucks become an NBA Finals contender 2, 3, 4 seasons in a row, and Milwaukee is now one of the best attended NBA towns in all of basketball. And most of their nationally televised games are must-watch games. If you just field a competitive team, if you just bleeping try, fans are going to show up. And the NBA's numbers just prove that. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, got a couple of guests coming in studio to talk a little bit more about next Thursday's live remote. Lonzo and I will be live and in person at Twin Peaks on Woodruff Road right here in the Ville. We'll talk football with them next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Oh, no.
Good morning, Kobe.
Bang, nailed it. That's a witness. That's in.
Yeah, he didn't see you. He wasn't looking. So
I know it wasn't. Oh, you brought beer. These are always a good day.
Yeah, it is.
Are they cold? Are they cold?
Come on. There's some props.
I'm not sure I would allow you to drink on the air. So
Stephanie and Tiara.
Nice to
This
meet you
is
guys. I'm Rob.
Lonzo. So
Hello.
We got a couple mics. Yes, indeed.
Right here.
We'll be right back, guys. Stay right there. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstage. We've told you that a week from tomorrow, we will be live at Twin Peaks Woodruff Road in Greenville for an all-day remote covering the National Football League Draft. Lonzo and I will be there from 9 to noon. Doors open at 11, but we are encouraging you to tailgate the parking lot until the doors open at 11. Come on in. After our show is over, Zoe and I will hang out. We'll grab some food. I'll grab some beer with you. And while we're doing that, the Rise Guys will be live on location from noon to 3. They'll be hanging out. And then when they're done, they're going to get some food and beer. And then offsides with Mark and Diesel. We'll start up, take you from 3 to 7, all the way up to the start of the NFL draft. We have joining us here in studio, 2 of the Twin Peaks girls, Tiara and Stephanie, in the building with us. How we doing, ladies?
We're great.
How are you?
My goodness. Radio voices. They were like, we're so nervous. That's great radio voices.
Well, thank you.
How's our day going?
Great.
On the radio for the first
That's
time.
it.
I mean,
And so far, so good, right?
so far so good.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. Everyone tells you, don't be nervous. It's okay. It's all right to be nervous, but it's just a couple guys in a room. We're just talking. I mean, it's no different than you being at the restaurant talking to a customer or something.
Oh, yeah, but the whole upstate's not listening then.
So I want to start with you guys. Twin Peaks is probably my favorite sports bar in the upstate. And we will start with, how many televisions do we have?
We have over 100 and we're getting more. So you've been there last week. You went more this week.
100 plus televisions. Lonzo, if you want to go to Twin Peaks to watch a sporting event, it's going to be on like 20 different televisions.
That's cool because I could just turn around and see it. I have this thing though. I have a buddy everywhere we go. He always asks the server, "Hey, what's your favorite thing here to eat?" I've never been to Twin Peaks before. I have no idea. I have no idea what kind of food you guys serve or anything like that. So I'm going to ask you what annoys me when he does it, but you're here. So I'm going to ask you, what should I order when I go?
How hungry are you?
I'm
we're
pretty
going to
hungry.
have just done a show.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
gonna,
Starving.
Yes, yes.
Billionaire bacon burger.
Ooh.
How big is that? Is that pretty big?
Yeah.
So okay.
Oh yeah, it's got the billionaire bacon on it. Super good. You won't be disappointed.
Billionaire
I,
bacon.
I like
Lonzo.
I like bacon.
It's for
Yes.
us 1%.
Yeah, that's for you. Yeah. Okay.
Love that. Love that.
What are the sides? I mean,
Fries.
fries.
What else
I
do you
mean,
get with a burger?
listen. I said I've never been there before, and there's
Maybe with a burger.
chips. Maybe there are also people out there listening right now who probably have never been there before, and I'm trying to get them out there so they can not only see us, but
Oh, we can get some broccoli.
I would
Side
just
salad.
I would just like to point out that
It is
Miss
summertime.
I'm Nervous just brought massive sass on the air. Like 3 minutes on the radio, and she's like, I'm gonna show these fools.
I'm so
Watch
sorry.
me. Watch me. No, I love it. It's great.
it's all right. Now I'm going to have to order the fries because I'll feel guilty if I don't.
Correct. Wings are good. Had those.
Oh yeah.
Pretzel
Smoked.
bites out of this world. Your team smoked wings.
Team smoked.
So am I.
Team smoked.
So am I. Like fried wings are fine, but if you smoke them right, which you guys do, they're undefeated.
Oh yeah.
It's the
Always.
best.
What flavor are you going with?
I'm an old school traditional buffalo guy. Like, just give me spicy. Now, if the buffalo sauce ain't kicking, I'll have to think about it a little bit. But you guys do pretty good.
Spicy Thai all the way.
Spicy Thai.
Spicy Thai.
And yours?
chili.
Spicy Thai.
That's the way to go.
That's the way to go.
Or
Damn,
spicy
I
garlic.
guess.
Spicy garlic's it.
I don't hate that. I feel like you guys have just thrown. See, the problem is going to be for Zoe and I next Thursday. We're going to get off the air at noon. We're going to sit down to eat. And now you have just caused what is going to turn into like a 35-minute, I don't know yet. I don't know.
You can't go wrong. So
How many wing flavors are there? Let's pop quiz this.
like 12? 12?
Are you asking the audience? Is that what we're doing here?
I mean, do you want us to count?
trying to
We
think
can
about it in my
count
head.
them.
No, just rough estimate. Let's go
I would
12.
say 12.
All right, let's go 12.
12.
Let's go 12. Wings are great. And this part is the best. 29-degree beer.
Mm-hmm.
The perfect temperature. I've seen John Tapper 29-degree beers.
Yep.
Is it Tapper? Tapper, right? Bar rescue guy? Lonzo wouldn't know. Yeah, I didn't think so. But I have been the last couple of years. I was actually blown away by this. Last year, football season, first year back after the pandemic, when everybody started opening back up, my now fiance was like, I want to go to Twin Peaks. And I was like, really? That's interesting. And I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm like, really? That's not what I expected. She brought me there. And now it's like that's where we go on Sundays. It's 100 plus TVs, 29-degree beer, great wings, and now I'm finding out there's a billionaire bacon cheeseburger
And the best bartenders.
and the best bartenders in the game.
Well, I already know what I'm ordering. So, I mean.
Are you going? You're going bacon
well,
cheeseburger with fries, right?
It was highly suggested. Yes.
Highly suggested.
Yes. So I have to do that.
And by the way, full liquor bar too. If you're not a
Oh,
if you're not a beer guy, full liquor bar.
Mhm.
What's your go-to drink? What's the signature? Somebody goes, just give me whatever. What are you making?
Margarita.
Cocaine.
Margarita and what?
Liquid cocaine.
That's a shot, right?
Oh, you can get it as a
You
drink.
make it cocktail style?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Lord of mercy. Well, I'll be at Twin Peaks till noon and then maybe longer than that. We'll find out. Are y'all working next Thursday? I got people on the stream asking. You both are working next Thursday. Yes, Dan, come on by. They'll be there. So we'll be there next Thursday. The show's 9 to noon and then draft celebration all day. And like I said, you guys have made this place to be a sports watching paradise.
Yes.
We try.
You're nailing it. Nailing it. So you guys will be
That's
working. Margarita, liquid cocaine, billionaire bacon cheeseburger. You didn't tell us. What's the pick?
Hangover burger.
Hangover burger.
All day.
Don't tell me fried egg on that.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of the fried egg on the burger.
So am I.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm twice as big of a fan when you have a hangover. It's a perfect name.
Does it up.
Honestly.
It does. Well, thank you guys for coming by. By the way, and the part that I'm going to get slapped if I don't say, the Rise guys.
Yeah. The
P1
boss
Longer.
is standing
I know
outside.
he
If you
is.
don't push that, you're probably in trouble.
Again, not
yeah.
only is he outside, he's watching on the stream to make sure I do this, which I would anyway because it's really good. The Rise Guys P1 Lager, you guys have on draft now.
On draft, 29 degrees.
You'll think Jack sat it down himself.
Man. And by the way, I know we've hit on this a couple of times. As a beer drinker, obviously, 29 degree. Any colder than that, you start
It's
to get the little
slushy.
ice floats. It becomes a slushy. Any warmer than that, you start to lose the just a little hint of taste on the end there. 29 degrees and the Rise Guys P1 Lager is going to be there and on sale that day, draft day, all day. Bryce Young, #1 overall pick.
Yes.
See?
Yes.
Told you, Alonzo. I told you. Are you going to tell them they're wrong too?
Yeah. You guys are wrong. It's going to be CJ Stroud. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Tell you what, you want to bet lunch on it?
Ooh, this is getting fun.
Sure.
There you go. All right, you guys are
I
witnesses.
heard it here.
Contemplate.
All
I
right.
heard it here.
We've all got Bryce Young. You've got CJ Stroud. Lunch bet on the table. And whoever loses has to get the boss to pay for lunch.
I probably got a better shot at that than you do.
Yeah, you're not
So,
wrong.
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
not wrong. Tara and Stephanie from Twin Peaks here with us on the Rob Brown Show. They will both be there, as will Lonzo and I, and the Rise Guys, and Mark Ryan, and Diesel, and everybody else from the Fan Upstate. Next Thursday, Twin Peaks, Woodruff Road in Greenville. Doors open at 11. We'll take you all the way up to the draft. Thank you guys for coming by.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, we'll see y'all next Thursday.
See you then.
Awesome. We'll be there.
Come on by, say hi to Tierra and Stephanie. Next Thursday, Twin Peaks, Woodruff Road in Greenville. We got to take a break. We are back right after this on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Hudson said, I don't know, but Rob's fiance is probably private. She's not. I told her yesterday, and for the record, and this is true, the only reason I go to Twin Peaks is because Courtney brings me there. That's her spot. She's been, you can talk to the folks downstairs. Courtney has been hanging out at Twin Peaks longer than she's known me.
I gotta admit, it's no joke. I've never been there before.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Courtney brings me there to, when I say, hey, I'm watching the Saints game this weekend, she brings me there because she enjoys it while I'm watching the game.
keep in mind, I don't go anywhere. So it's not a slight on anything. I just don't go anywhere. So.
Look at my guy, Tori. We ain't seen Torian in the stream in a minute, right? Ain't seen Torian in the stream for a minute. The first time he makes his appearance is to show up and chastise us for not having chairs for the Twin Peaks girls.
Here's
Spectacular.
Here's the thing, and this is thinking ahead. People are really nervous when they come into a studio, and standing up makes you less nervous because you're able to shift your weight around a little bit, so you're not fidgety in your chair. So we did that to make them feel more comfortable because that's what we do. We have
We're gentlemen.
The foresight and thinking about our guests and what would make them feel more at home, and so that's what we did.
That's it. That's it. By the way, we did have the conversation off the stream. We had a texter call or a text in and ask about the Billionaire Bacon burger. The Billionaire Bacon burger. Is it crispy bacon or floppy bacon? Because the Rob Brown Show Armada loves to live up to its stereotypes. So I asked, and the answer was, it is crispy bacon.
And even the boss on his way out was asking Rob what was wrong with him.
Yeah.
I mean, what's wrong with you, dude?
Well,
I mean,
Tara looked and she goes, why? And this is how she does. She looks at me and she goes, why, do you like floppy bacon? And I was like, yeah. I want to be able to grab the bacon and twist it around like a helicopter. And then our boss looks at both of them and says loudly and plainly, that's why Rob has no friends.
Yeah.
Quote, end quote.
See, I tried to lessen the blow by not doing a direct quote there. I just, because I didn't feel bad for you because it's weird liking floppy bacon, but still, I mean,
Unbelievable.
He
likes floppy bacon. That's why Rob has no friends. Unbelievable, man. Steven said the way Rob just worked in, I have a fiance, was perfectly done. Bravo, sir. Let me go ahead and tell you this. And I told him this on the air. The first time I've gone to Twin Peaks, this is not true. I just realized something. I've been to Twin Peaks one time before I moved here. It was down in Pensacola, Florida. Okay. Little brother, I was back home with the fam. This is before I moved here. Little brother says to me in the Madre, let's go. It was like a Thursday night Saints game. He's like, let's go to Twin Peaks and watch it. My dear sweet mother's like, what is Twin Peaks? My brother's like, oh, it's a sports bar. And it's like a dude-themed sports bar. It's like an old mountain lodge, which it is. He's like, let's go to Twin Peaks and watch the Saints game. My mom's like, all right, let's go. That's where my brother decided to bring my mom. He's not a smart kid. He's a lawyer and not a smart kid.
I don't know what an old mountain lodge looks like. So now I'm going to be interested.
You'll find out Thursday.
Yeah.
Next Thursday, not tomorrow. I will say this. When the now fiance and I got together, the year after the pandemic, when football started again, like normal, and we could all go out and watch it again in person, she said to me, let's go to Twin Peaks. And I was like, hey, go wherever you want, I'm like, come on, man. I've met women before. Like, let's be real. You don't have to placate me. We're already dating. You don't have to impress me. I'm already in. She's like, no, I love Twin Peaks. I was like, all right, come on. Stop lying to me. You're already cool. We're already good. She goes, I have been hanging out at Twin Peaks for years. I have been hanging out at Twin Peaks since well before I met you. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. She brought me there for Saints Buccaneers, as a matter of fact, in 21? Brought me there for Saints Buccaneers. We walk in, and like everybody there knew her. They just already knew her. I'm like, all right, well, so there we go. The point here is,
No, I think Keegan has a great
It's
point.
family friendly to
Little
everybody.
brother made me. My fiance made me. Robert, please take responsibility for your own action. Let's not play the blame game. He went Robert. That's the second time someone went Robert on you today. So, I mean, you
Let
know.
me be abundantly clear. Now that I know we're good to go, I will go to Twin Peaks all the time. All right, no problem. I have left this building and gone to Twin Peaks a number of times. It's right down the road from us, right down Woodruff Road. Big fan. Wings are good. Burgers are good. Beer is cold. Full liquor bar. Your boy loves him. So I've watched plenty of Thursday night college football games solo at Twin Peaks.
I have a dilemma though, because now do I go with the $1 billion burger or do I go with the hangover burger with the egg on it? I've never had a hangover because I don't drink, but I do know that egg on a burger is really good, and I try to eat one of those wherever they serve them. But because of the bacon, of the bacon discussion,
is
dude,
too
I
easy.
cannot eat 2 hamburgers. Don't even suggest it.
No. The solution is right there, man.
So we both get it. We cut it in half and share.
You're overthinking
Because that's
it again.
that's a little weird.
You just get the hangover burger and then ask them to put bacon on it.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No. I'm gonna go with the bacon just because of our bacon discussions that we have here. I got to go with the bacon. And I'm going to enjoy every
No.
I'm going to enjoy every crispy bite of that bacon on that burger.
If you think,
and I will feel like a billionaire watching you disgusted by me eating the crunch of the bacon.
All right. Why do I constantly have to clarify your personal attacks on my character? I'm tired of it.
It has nothing to do with your character.
I do not hate crispy bacon. If there is only crispy bacon on the table, I'm eating crispy bacon because I'd rather have crispy bacon than no bacon in my face hole. Second off, I'm not disgusted by other people eating crispy bacon. I don't understand preferring crispy bacon to floppy bacon, but I'm not going to judge you if you eat the crispy bacon.
Yeah, you
Third
will.
off,
You will too.
third
You will
off,
too. You've already
third
judged.
off,
You've judged all of us. We've heard
incorrect.
this.
I literally just said I'm not doing that, and you're like, no, you
Yeah,
do.
because you already have.
Third off, ladies and gentlemen, unlike Lonzo, I got zero problem going with a whole ass breakfast on a burger. Give me the fried egg, give me the floppy bacon, and go ahead and throw some hash browns on that bad boy too. Let's just have the whole bacon on a burger, on a whole breakfast on a
All
bacon
right,
burger.
I'm not there to change the menu. We just had some fine guests, both suggested different things. So the compromise would be for me to try one and you try the other, and we get a side of wings. I mean, that's the way to go right there.
See, Lonzo, every time I start to get frustrated with you, you go and say something like, quote, a side of wings and completely redeem yourself.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'd like to order your wings as a side to my actual food, please. I'm not eating for a week just so I'm ready for Twin Peaks next Thursday. Next Thursday, Twin Peaks. Do we have to take another break? Is this the last segment? I completely forgot where we are in the hour.
We have to take our final break.
All right, let's
so
take-
we no.
Oh, no, like our last break.
Yeah,
That's what
so,
I meant.
so we still got about 8 minutes or so.
Perfect.
Yes.
Outstanding. Twin Peaks next Thursday. We will be there from 9 to noon. Doors open at 11. You guys can tailgate 9 to 11, then come on in at 11 o'clock. Hang out with us for the last hour of the show. Then from 12 to 3, Lonzo and I will be chilling out, having some billionaire bacon cheeseburgers, some hangover burgers with fries, some wings, some 29-degree beer while the Rise Guys are doing their show. Then at 3 o'clock, Mark, Ryan, and Diesel take over. They will take you offsides from 3 to 7 up until the beginning of the 2023 National Football League draft, where Bryce Young will be drafted by the Carolina Panthers.
No, that'll be CJ Stroud. Be careful asking about sides though, because you never know what kind of reaction you're going to get. Because they have fries. I don't know if you do that.
You
but
got to go fries.
They have fries. We know now.
Love some fries.
The glare I got for that question, that was
In fairness,
yeah.
She had a point.
I was giving her the opportunity to talk about all the sides. I knew fries. I mean, come on. I mean, I thought maybe they would have had some other things, but instead I got.
Yeah, but you asked, what side do I get with a burger? You didn't say what
You're right.
sides do you have.
You're right.
You
I
said
did.
what fries with a burger, and the answer to a burger, it's literally burger and fries. That's the expression.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I also find that if I make people angry at me, they're more comfortable. So, I mean, there's that.
Although I am very curious now to look up what they have as a side. I really am. Here we go. Sides. Here you go, Lonzo. You can have French fries, sweet potato fries, lemon garlic pilaf. Don't hate that. Creamy coleslaw, house-made garlic mashed potatoes. Big fan of garlic mashed potatoes.
Hey, there we go.
Sauteed green beans or sauteed broccoli. Broccoli's unappreciated.
All right. Broccoli was mentioned. All those things that you're talking about, though, you don't eat those with a hamburger. So she was right, except for the sweet potato fries.
Wait. I just scrolled down to the desserts.
Uh-oh. I rarely make it to dessert, but
Apple turnover, classic.
yeah, love the
Big
apple
fan.
turnover.
A la mode, vanilla ice cream, little caramel sauce on top. Caramel sauce on top.
Yeah, the best time for vanilla ice cream is a la mode on
Absolutely.
something. Yeah.
The other options. The Twin Peaks Sundae, 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream on a hot fudge Ghirardelli brownie.
What kind of brownie?
Ghirardelli?
I don't know. I'm going
Why are
with
you making question
no,
myself?
because I've never heard of it before.
Ghirardelli. It's like the really fancy Swiss chocolate.
So, okay, I'm not saying it's bad. I've just never heard the name before. I'm sorry.
Is the goat chocolate, and that's the brown of those. Or cinnamon toast crunch cheesecake topped with rum chata sauce, whipped cream, and cinnamon toast crunch cereal dust. Yes, bleeping sir.
Yeah, I'm staying away from that one. But everything else sounds really good.
James said the mountain of nachos is no joke. I've seen it. It's not.
Is it truly a mountain?
It is a pile. If you and I got the nachos, we could split it and both leave full. It's a pile.
Okay.
Steven said, Rob, I got to say that's the best your background has ever looked. Oh, yes. No, I agree. You're not wrong about that at all. All right. Let's get sports in the 3 minutes we have left in the hour, shall we?
We were talking sports because we're talking food, and no one loves talking sports better than someone going to Twin Peaks and looking at the over 100 screens or 100 screens.
100
Yes.
plus televisions.
Which is a lot.
You can't not watch anything there.
And one of the cooler things, believe it or not, is when you hear somebody on the radio and then you get a chance to go sit down and eat with them at a place that has 100 TVs and talk sports. I mean, and we're going to be there. And maybe we're not your cup of tea. If we're not, and you're more into a little bit of Robin, a little bit of Diesel and Mark. Yeah, that's his name, Diesel and Mark's kind of thing. Well, they're going to be there, or maybe you're there for the real stars, the Rise guys, and they're going to be there from noon, noonish. I don't know. Real stars, are they there right exactly on time? I don't know if they are or not.
So
they're probably riding up in a limo. Me and Rob are, we might have to ride a bike over there.
I probably will ride my bike Thursday.
There you go.
Mine's got a
There you
motor
go. Okay.
So I'll say this: 100 plus televisions. And by the way, when I say 100 plus TVs, like I have gone to sports bar before, they're like, we got 30 TVs, and you walk in and half of them are basically like cell phones that they stuck to the wall, right? Every TV at Twin Peaks is a big screen TV. Literally, I'll tell you why it's best. NFL draft night. 80 of those TVs are going to be on the draft.
Sure.
Right? You're going to have
Sure.
some NBA playoff games on, some Stanley Cup playoff games on. So even if you're coming for the NBA playoffs or the Stanley Cup, you're going to have 25 TVs with your game on it. But let's say 70 of the TVs are going to be on the NFL draft. If you go there with friends, family, loved ones, coworkers, whatever, a lot of bars, it sucks to try to have a conversation when the game's on, because if you're not looking and Lonzo goes, Rob, hey, Rob, hey, Rob, hey, Rob, hey, Rob, hey, Rob. And then I have to turn and look to see what Lonzo wants. What am I not looking at? The game I'm there to watch. But if I turn to see what Lonzo wants, there's about an 89% chance that over Lonzo's left and or right shoulder is going to be another TV with the thing that I want on. So when Lonzo goes, Rob, hey, Rob, hey, Rob, hey, Rob, hey, Rob, look, Rob. And I turn to look at him, I can pretend I'm looking at Lonzo and look past him at the TV I actually want to look at.
Well, have you portrayed me as that little yappy dog trying to get someone's attention?
Because you portray me as the guy who judges others based on their food choices.
Okay. Come to Twin Peaks. We'll probably still be talking by that point. I'm sure we will be. No, really, we'll have a good time. Rob is wonderful at conversation, and I'll just nod.
And Lonzo
I'll
gives
just-
great hand hugs.
Hand hugs. right over here,
Yep.
and I will nod a lot. That's what I'll do.
Twin Peaks a week from tomorrow. We will be there from 9
Actually,
to noon.
you know what you need to do? Come up and talk to Rob right as he takes a big bite of one of those burgers.
Yeah, and I'll introduce you to Alonzo. It's perfect. Works out great. Come on over to Twin Peaks a week from tomorrow, 9 to noon. Doors open at 11. Tailgate from 9 to 11. Come on in at 11. At 12, Zoe and I are off the air. We'll have some burgers and wings and fries and cinnamon toast cheesecake with you. The Rise Guys will be on the air from noon to 3. Mark Ryan and Diesel will be there from 3 to 7. And, of course, the Rise Guys P1 Lager will be on draft that day. 29-degree beer. Can't beat it. Back after this, all sports, maybe, start to finish at the next hour on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Roger.
Yeah, it was great. That was really good.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. He is the great one, Lonzo. If you would like to be a part of the radio broadcast, now is your opportunity to do so. All you got to do is jump on the GilstratFamilyDealerships.com phone line at 844-326-3663. Text us 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-M. We will read them on the air. You can tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. You can tweet Lonzo at Lonzo on Word, and you can tweet all of us at The Fan Upstate. And we would appreciate a follow if you are on the Twitter device. Can get at us on Facebook at The Fan Upstate on Facebook. That is where you can watch the live stream. Same with YouTube at The Fan Upstate or The Rob Brown Show on Twitch. So, we have been following, for some of us, with a high level of interest. We have been following the potential sale of the Washington Commanders. Bum, 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 bum. And you would think that the National Football League would be chomping at the proverbial bit to get rid of Dan Snyder. Dan Snyder has been nothing but a blight on the league for like a while now. It has been controversy after controversy, investigation after investigation. It's just been no bueno. And for a league that is investing more and more frequently in trying to clean up its image to some degree, you would think that they would jump at the opportunity to get rid of one Dan Snyder. So, Snyder got an offer from an investment group led by Philadelphia 76ers owner Josh Harris. And that sale is likely to get the old thumbs up from the NFL. According to Mark Maskey and Nick Javala of the Washington Post, the offer of over $6 billion was made. The NFL is working on getting the thumbs up for the deal to get it done. But what's really interesting is that some owners are having an issue with the sale. Remember, you've got to have 3/4 of the owners say yes to justify the sale of the Washington Commanders. If I recall correctly off the top of my head, it is 75% of the owners must say yes. Now, as of right now, it does appear that they will get those yes votes. It does appear that they will give the approval for Dan Snyder to sell the team to Harris's investment group for the over $6 billion. But what is interesting is that there are at least 3 owners so far that have spoken out. And I suspect that there are more who would voice their disapproval, but have decided not to do so because of the backlash. At least 3 owners are apparently considering a no vote, not because they want Dan Snyder to stay, not because they think it's a bad sale. but because they think the valuation of the team and the sale price is too low. One owner, according to the Washington Post, went on the record anonymously and said, quote, "I thought it was worth $7 billion or more. I don't know why you'd cut out the one guy who could pay that," end quote. Assumedly talking about Amazon owner Jeff Bezos, who was initially one of the potential investors that was considering purchasing the Washington Commanders. According to the Post, there are other owners that have issues with the sale process, predominantly that of the valuation of the team. They all think it should be worth $7 million more.
So this is like living in a rich neighborhood, and one of the houses goes up for sale, and it's selling cheaper than the other houses. So if everyone else thinks it makes the property values around it go down.
Yeah, basically.
So you can see their point is what I'm saying.
I can see their point. Let me see if I can spice up your metaphor just a touch. Let's say that you're in a wealthy neighborhood and there's 32 houses on the block. And those 32 houses are all worth $7 million or let's say $7 million just to keep the numbers easy and realistic. $7 million a piece. And everyone who lives in that neighborhood invested in that house to get money back for it, right? You live in a super nice neighborhood. It allows you to work a cushy job, yada, yada, yada. Well, one of the owners in the neighborhood over the past couple of years has had the cops called multiple times, has had repeated allegations of sexual impropriety leveled against him, has apparently been coercing the HOA to make decisions that benefit him and nobody else. Hell, at one point, the FBI showed up on his front porch and started kicking in the door. To the point that the HOA went to the guy and said, "Hey, we think you should move out of the neighborhood. But we don't think you're a good fit anymore." And eventually, after investigation number whatever, the owner of that house said, "You know what? Fine. I'll move out. I'm going to put my house up for sale and I'm going to move out." Well, all the houses in the hood are worth $7 million. This owner, for a variety of reasons, including the fact that his house has been in the news a lot of times for very bad things over and over and over, says, "Yeah, I'm going to sell my house for $6 million. Now, all the other owners in that neighborhood who want that guy gone, right? Because at the end of the day, what is going to bring property values in that 32 house neighborhood down? The cops keep showing up in the neighborhood, right? Even if it's only for a specific house, the cops keep showing up in the neighborhood. Makes the whole neighborhood look bad when every couple of months, the FBI is rolling up into the crib. So he goes, "I'm going to sell my house for $6 million because that's what I can get to get it done now and get out ASAP." And now the HOA is going, "Yeah, we might not approve the sale of your home because we think you should get the full $7 million for it." Look, do you want the guy gone? Or do you not? You have an opportunity to finally get rid of Dan Snyder. You have the opportunity to finally get rid of a guy who is in the running for worst owner in sports. Now, there are other owners. The owners of the Oakland Athletics are in that group, right? They got a possum in the press box that's been there for at least a year at this point. There are other owners in the competition, but Dan Snyder actively hurts other people. Legally, by the letter of the law, often hurts other people. So you got an opportunity to get this guy gone, to push him out of the neighborhood and get somebody in there who theoretically and hopefully isn't going to have the cops called on him over and over, who theoretically isn't going to have the FBI rolling the street asking questions, who theoretically isn't going to be committing what I once learned is the cardinal sin of having the wrong colored shutters on the house. And you are like, no, we'd rather keep that. This is my perception. We would rather keep the guy who keeps getting investigated, who keeps having more stories about his inappropriate behavior under the protection of the shield, go into the news over and over and over and over and over again. We would rather let that guy stick around to get what we perceive as the property value of his home, then kick him out now and everybody take a slight ding to the property value of our house, right? Here's a fun reality. Anything that has the scarcity of professional sports ownership at a top tier level, the valuation of that is almost always going to rise. Every single year, Forbes puts out its list of the most valuable sports franchises on planet Earth. And every year, the number one is always more valuable than it was the year before that. Now, the team in that position might change, but every year, the most valuable sports franchise is more valuable than the most valuable sports franchise the year before. And every year, the number 2 spot is more valuable and the number 3 spot is more valuable, and so on and so forth all the way up. It is just about always been that way. If Dallas was not making more money this year than next year, Jerry Jones would cash out. Jerry Jones bought the Dallas Cowboys in 1989 for $150 million. You know what they're worth right now? $8 billion. Just over the past 5 years. A 5-year span included a COVID year where nobody was in the building watching them play. Still had to pay the bills to run the stadium. Still got to pay the players to play. Even including the COVID year. According to Forbes, in the past 5 years, the value of the Dallas Cowboys, Zoe, has risen 67%. The New England Patriots are the second most valuable sports franchise in America. According to Forbes, and let me get the exact date so we know when this dropped. The last time that this list came out was September of last year. So we're talking what? A half a year? The second most valuable sports franchise is the New England Patriots. They are, according to Forbes, worth $6.4 billion. Over the last 5 years, the value of the New England Patriots, Lonzo, including a couple of years without Tom Brady, 73% rise in value. The LA Rams are worth $6.2 billion. They were purchased back in 2010. Over the past 5 years, the value of the LA Rams is up 107%. Over the past 5 years, the number 4 most valuable team in America, the New York Yankees, 62% up. The number 4 team in America, the New York Giants, 82% rise in value over the past 5 years. The Bears are number 6, 104. The Golden State Warriors, they are number 8 in most valuable sports franchise. Over the past 5 years, they are up 115%. The Washington Commanders, 81%. The Lakers, 83%. The Jets, 96%. The 49ers, 70%. You don't hit a non-American team until you get to number 13. Real Madrid out of España. 5-year change, 42% up. Then you go back to the Raiders, 114%. Barcelona, 39% rise in value. The Eagles, 85%. The point here is sports franchises do not decrease in value. They may have an occasional stall out, maybe even dip a little bit if they have an owner like Dan Snyder. But valuation is always on the rise. And yet, even knowing that of the top 10 most valuable franchises on planet Earth, 9 of them are NFL teams. The Yankees are in there and the other 9 are NFL teams. Every one of them has had over the past 5 years a value increase of over 60%. At least one of them a value that has doubled in 5 years. And yet here's a chance for the league to get rid of an owner who impacts the value of the league negatively. And they've decided, no, because we think that franchise is worth $7 billion and he's only getting 6.5. And we don't want the impact of that sale to damage the value of my team. This is why when Roger Goodell and NFL franchisors, owners, come out and go, you know, it's our mission to have a better image of the league. It's our mission to paint the shield in the most positive light we can. I don't know why Jimmy Stewart owns a team.
And how many people actually recognize Jimmy Stewart?
Clarence. That is why when these owners come out, when Roger Goodell comes out and says, oh, we're trying to have a better image, we're trying to make the image of the league better, I freaking laugh because it's not true. The image of the league is immediately boosted just by saying, you know what, Dan, fine, sell it for whatever you can get it for and get the hell out. Get out. Get out. But over about $750 million in profit that doesn't belong to them, they feel the damage to their franchise's values, which in some cases have at the least gone up 60%, and in some cases more than doubled, is not worth getting rid of Dan Snyder. Get the hell out of here, man. That's weak. That's weak. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, I got a few things I want to run through before we wrap up the show. The Triumph at home tonight, Furman Paladin Stadium. Got to get some goals in the back of the net, fellas. 4 games deep. The Triumph are 0-4, including a loss on the road in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Trophy Hunt. The Lamar Trophy was there for the taking, and the Triumph could not get it done. Can they get back to the house, get comfortable, bury a couple a night, and get win number 1? We'll talk about that. Got a couple of NBA and NHL stories as we get ready for the continuation of round 1 of the playoffs of both. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Got a live for you guys. Be right back.
$250 just for signing up. Just go to ramp.com.
By the way, just so you know, we weren't off stream for that long because of what I had to go to the restroom. So this is why, as a producer, you should always be listening, because even when people don't intend to do things, sometimes it happens. Words, you stumble with words, and you know. As bad as it was, the look on his face was pretty funny. He's still recovering though. So I mean, you know, I'm gonna have to go get him here in a second.
They find it hilarious.
Listen, it's radio, man. That stuff happens
It's gonna
sometimes.
happen.
But my question is, would someone on another station have dumped it? And I get
Yeah,
concerned.
that's-
No. I get concerned that they would not.
I would have
As I-
legitimately, had you not been here, pointed at it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, because I'll err on the side of if they get mad at me, I don't care.
Yes, Luke, even if it is a misspeak, that has to be dumped.
Yeah, the FCC don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, sure, you didn't mean to say it.
That's a good thing for the whiteboard. No, it's not. It's not a good thing for anything.
This is entrance music for wrestling for sure.
Oh, 100%. Completely agree. I think a lot of our royalty-free music is appropriate as wrestling
The
entrance.
question is that somewhere in the back of my mind, is that why I picked it?
Which, by the way,
Maybe.
speaking of the wrestling, you know what takes place 24 hours from right now? Fight Club!
Oh yeah, I thought you were gonna.
With the great one.
Oh, tonight's AEW. So yeah. Okay, yeah, tomorrow.
Fight Club with Lonzo tomorrow. Your home for all things combat sports. I'm not saying we are the only show in the upstate that talks boxing, MMA, and professional wrestling, but we're pretty close. We're pretty close.
Well, some other shows may talk about it, but they act like they're real cool and everything. You know, we're the only one on this station that will talk about it, though.
Hell, I think we're the only one on a sports talk radio show in this area that does it. But again, I haven't listened to all of them.
But you know,
Keegan
it's
said it's creator wrestler music.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it is.
It is for sure. And you know, not everybody. I mean, other people don't talk about wrestling, and then you know what they talk about with wrestlers ends up making it. You know, all across the country, the world, even that would be us.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3 times now. Yeah.
By the way, before we get to tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll break it down, but did you see Dana? Dana was listening to the show. There is a heavyweight fight slated.
I did not see that. No.
Dana said we are getting the fight we asked for last week.
Cool.
How about that?
Cool.
So we'll talk about that tomorrow on Fight Club.
We'll see.
Yes, we will, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we will. All right, let's get a couple of stories in here before we get to the end of the radio broadcast. Twitter trending topics in the next segment. I told you about it earlier. Fitty had a presser yesterday. That, of course, is my affectionate nickname for one Scott Fitterer.
Okay, so we're not talking about the rapper.
Not 50 Cent.
Okay.
I suspect that Fitterer did not check in with Fitty to find out who he thinks the Cat should take number 1 overall.
Because he would say CJ Stroud.
He might.
Because he's rational and he understands that height means something in the NFL.
Until it doesn't, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson. So, Fitterer said a couple of things. There was a large reaction to the news that broke on Monday that Bryce Young and his camp officially canceled all of their future top 30 meetings.
After visiting Houston and realizing that he's going number 2.
He visited with Houston. He visited with Carolina. And after those meetings, he canceled all the rest of his trips, which makes sense because regardless of if you think he's going 1 or 2,
He's going 1 or 2.
he's going 1 or 2.
Yeah, he is.
He's not going to be available at 3. So he really only needed to meet with 1 and 2. Now, the belief amongst a lot of us, and by a lot of us, I mean me, is that he's going number 1. There's too many things lined up. If Houston believes that Bryce Young is the guy sitting at number 2, and they believe that there is even a chance of him being available at number 2, Houston is not shopping number 2. They're going to stay put. Now, they might shop it in terms of, hey, if the Panthers draft Bryce Young, then you and I have a deal. But if we're on the clock at number 2 next Thursday after Rob and Lonzo are live at Twin Peaks on Woodruff Road in Greenville and C.J. Stroud is the pick on the board because Bryce Young is gone, then we will trade back out of number 2. They could have a deal with a contingency involved.
All right, speaking of deals, because I just realized that I may have accepted something without listening to the wording correctly. A bet was made last hour.
Correct.
Do you remember your exact question to me?
If the Carolina Panthers.
Okay,
Okay.
all
I'm
right.
not even putting the first overall. I'm
Okay,
just saying pick
okay,
number
because
one.
I was worried I misheard.
Nope.
And then the more you talk about the fact that Houston could trade up to number 1,
They very much could.
to get, they very much could.
But I
And
believe
yes,
the bet was, and we can go back and check this after the show.
well, I'm good.
If the
You said-
Carolina Panthers draft Bryce Young at number 1 overall, which means if they trade out of number 1, then that the bet is null and void on both sides.
Okay, all right.
The bet has to be that Carolina stays at 1 and takes Bryce Young. If they move out of 1, the bet's off the board. And if they stay at 1 and take anybody that's not Bryce Young, you win. If they take Bryce Young, I win at number 1. If they dump to 2 and still get Bryce Young, which they won't. But if
'Cause
they
you-
move to 2 and got Bryce Young, then it would still be null and void.
You're really starting to convince me here what a play this would be by the Panthers, making it look like that they're going to go with Bryce, but they really want CJ just to get Houston to trade up to
Yeah.
1. I mean, what a move that
Look,
would be if that happens.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. If we are sitting there at Twin Peaks and Shefty drops a Shefty bomb that the Carolina Panthers and Houston Texans have flipped trades, Houston will draft number 1 overall and the Panthers will draft number 2 overall, I will not be shocked, right? Houston has made it obvious now that they are looking at only Bryce Young. I've only got eyes for you, Young. That's pretty good.
No,
That's
no,
pretty good.
No,
That's
I
pretty
don't. You were out of tune a little bit as far as.
I am always out of tune.
No, you're not. That
That's the
was
point of
I
doing
mean,
So if those 2 picks get flipped, I will not be shocked. In fact, not only would I not be shocked, but I may very well walk over to the table where Mark is broadcasting, grab a headset just to get on and go, Scott Fitterer is a genius. And then I will drop the microphone and walk away. Because that
drop it gently. Don't break it. And you're going to hurt the producer back.
Yeah,
in
but
yeah.
mic set down doesn't have the same ring as mic drop. So, and look, if wrestlers can throw those mics in the ring as often as they do, we'll be fine. So, I will call Scott Fitterer a genius if we end up in a situation where Carolina and Houston flip-flop picks and Carolina ends up at the 2, still get CJ Stroud and get some back that they gave away to go from 9 to 1 overall. I will think that that is a brilliant move, an absolutely brilliant move. The more I've talked about it, the more I've talked myself into that's what should be done. I don't think you can go further back than that. Unless you are convinced that the roof for Anthony Richardson is so high that he's worth the investment. And then you can go to 3. But remember, you got to have dance partners anywhere you want to go. Arizona's not moving up. They're not taking a quarterback. So they're not moving up. The only thing I could see happening would be somebody else trading up to 3 and then selling more to get from 3 to 1. Carolina drops from 1 back to 3, and they take AR. But at this point, I'm convinced there's 2 plays. You're taking Bryce, 1, or you're trading back to Houston and taking CJ, 2. Scott Fitterer, in order to quell the fire that was started with Bryce Young canceling the rest of his trips, did talk in a press conference a little bit about BY. He said 2 things about the former Crimson Tider. He said, numero uno, we did not tell him that he is the number 1 overall pick. We have not said that to him. We have not told him he's number 1. We have not told anybody he's number 1. In fact, we have not decided who the number 1 pick is going to be. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. I don't know yet. I don't think there is a way to know. I think anybody who's telling you that the Panthers have decided, they just don't know. I'm pretty sure they have, but I don't know it. The second thing that he did, and this is why this is interesting to me. The second thing that he did was that without being asked directly about it, is repeatedly hammer on the fact that Bryce Young's height does not concern us. Said that multiple times. He said, hey, look, Russell Wilson in his college career had like 6 balls batted down. In his senior year, the year before he got drafted, he had 3 balls batted down at the line of scrimmage. Anybody want to take a stab at how many balls Bryce Young had batted down at the line of scrimmage last year? Granted, he was playing behind an elite Alabama offensive line, but he was also playing in the Southeastern Conference, and more specifically in the Western Division of the Southeastern Conference, which was loaded with good defenses. Anybody want to take a stab at how many footballs Bryce Young had batted down at the line of scrimmage last year? Grab your pen and pencil. It's time for the Rob Brown Show Home Edition quiz. Pencils down. The answer is 2. 2. In his full final year at the University of Alabama, Bryce Young had 2 footballs knocked down at the line. And Fitter went out of his way to point that out. 2. So he said the height's not a concern because Bryce Young has spent his entire playing career being 5'10" and a quarter or whatever it is. Bryce Young was the number 1 quarterback recruit coming out of his class, if I recall correctly. Then he went to Alabama. What did he do there? Won a Heisman Trophy. Now, I do not go for the everywhere he's been a winner argument. I think that's weak. That's what you say when you don't have, things to back it up with.
Everywhere he's been short. I can say that without a doubt. He's been short everywhere he's been. Yes.
But everywhere he's been, he has put up national numbers.
I am just curious. So Thursday night, Twin Peaks, you're watching the draft, and Bryce Young is picked number 1. Will there be boos or will there be cheers from the crowd? Not that doesn't matter.
When you say the crowd,
I'm just
you mean
curious.
Panthers fans?
Yes.
I think they accept it.
I don't.
I think they accept
I don't. I think there's going to be some boos. Now, I think there may be more boos than cheers if Bryce Young goes number 1 to the Panthers.
Text me right now. Panthers fans, text me right now. Bryce Young. You can text 71307. Text fan boo or fan cheer. Let's make it easy. One word. 71307. Text fan boo or fan cheer. If Bryce Young is the pick, you good with it or not? As you guys know, I'm a dork and I spend time perusing the message boards, right? I think you get a pretty good vibe for what people feel like. And it seems like the majority of people, at least on the interweb message boards, are fine. Maybe not super duper thrilled about Bryce Young over CJ, but like are good with it. Are good with it. First two text in, fan, loud boo because CJ Stroud is the choice. Second text, fan, boo. Third text, boo, he too small. Ho, you fat. It's like mentioning basketball every now and then. Okay, so well, first three out the gate, I'll say boo. Guys on the stream, y'all are free to walk to give us your thoughts as well. 71307, fan boo or fan cheer if Bryce Young is the pick. I feel like Panthers fans will accept it, right? I feel like there was more.
You don't have a choice other than say, well, they're not my team anymore. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be, yay, because I just don't see that happening. And obviously, I do have bias towards CJ Stroud, but I think quarterback-wise, I think he's a better quarterback, and he's got something that Bryce Young does not have, nor shall he ever, and that's height.
A solid Tinder resume. We'll see. But Fitterer said yesterday his height does not concern us. He's put up all-star numbers at every level, and he's smart enough to play around being short. But he also said we never told Bryce he's the guy. We never told him or his guys that he's the guy, so we can't speak as to how or why Bryce canceled the rest of his trips. We know why.
Hey, we're not saying you're the guy. I'm winking, by the way. We're not saying you're the guy.
Hey, not saying he's the guy. I'm not saying he's not the guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, you know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We got a week and a day away.
You know, quick aside, watch NXT. You're going to love the segment. There's something said that will make you pop when Tony D'Angelo and Stax are having a discussion at a local eatery.
The Don, huh? The Don. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's run to our final break of the show, shall we? We'll come back here in just a minute. We will talk a couple of minutes of Greenville Triumph football. Then we head to Twitter trending topics. Then we call it a day because your boy's got work to do before he heads out to Paladin Stadium to take in a football match tonight. If you have not yet been to a Triumph game, come on out, hang out with us tonight. Paladin Stadium, 7:30 kick. We're back after this. Rob Alonzo and you. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
And the Steelers are finalizing a deal to acquire Allen Robinson from the the Rams. The two teams exchanged 7 draft picks in this year's draft, and the Steelers have also agreed to pick up $5 million of Robinson's 2023 compensation. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats.
More than likely, yes. I'm working out the details on that, Stephen.
From far away. And the ones keeping busy.
That is the plan right now.
We are Granger, offering professional grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability.
Anytime Rob and I are live together somewhere, we're going to try to do live stream.
Agents who are realtors volunteer at nearly 3 times the national average. We're working to broaden access to credit, increase affordable housing supply, and ensure fair housing for all. Realtors are bound by a code of ethics. We're here for it all. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's. So thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code JOY at checkout. That's harrys.com, code JOY. Enjoy.
Guys, fellas, men, do you want a better sex life? Roman has genuine medication that helps you achieve and maintain a strong erection. Roman has discreet wipes that help you last 4 times longer in bed. Roman has testosterone testing and treatment. Treating low testosterone can help revive your sex drive. So men, what are you waiting for? For a better sex life, go to ro.co/bettersex. Do it today and get 20% off. That's ro.co/bettersex.
The Madre just texted me, oops, what do you think that's about?
Remember, on stream and on the app.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
Yeah. Those, as of now, are not regulated.
Uh-oh, the 5-0's here. I didn't do it.
Is that the Popo?
Show is. The Fuzz. Steven says, will you guys be live streaming next Thursday? I'm going to say probably.
Yeah. Well, I've in preliminary discussions with this, we need to ask the venue if it's okay. That's
Yeah, if they're good with it, we will. And I can't imagine they will.
All right, we're going to do our best to. When we're live together, we usually try to do that. But again, it comes down to you got to ask permission, and I'm guessing no one has done that yet.
Yeah,
so.
if the venue's good with it, then the answer is yes. We will stream next week, but we'll let you know when we get closer.
Now, will you be able to hear us on the stream? I don't know. That's the next thing we need to worry about.
I mean, you can hear me when I stream from home, so I imagine it should be fine.
Yeah, but there's the utility feedback thing. We got to make sure we have that little device. There's a lot of things
We'll
involved.
let you know. How's that? Your answer is probably, but we'll let you know. All right. Greenville Triumph back home tonight. It has been a slug for the Triumph so far this season. It has not been an opening that will be remembered in lore, unfortunately, as 3 losses in a row. A loss to the Richmond Kickers to open the season, a loss to Phoenix Rising in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup Challenge, and a loss against Tormenta on the road. Now, the loss against Richmond is the only home loss so far. Opened the season at home, dropped one to Richmond 1-0, and Richmond's a rival to a degree. That's a tough match. So it is back home, and dropped one at Forward Madison as well 4 days ago, unfortunately. That one, a bit more of a beatdown, took a 4-1 defeat at the hands of the Flamingos up in, by the way, Madison, Wisconsin, using a flamingo as their mascot's hilarious.
Yeah, you know why not?
Why not? This evening, Paladin Stadium, 7:30 p.m. The boys are back in town.
Could it be flamingo dancers and not actually
No, that's
flamingo?
flamenco.
It is?
Yeah.
It's not flamingo?
No, it's not flamingo dancing.
It's not? Are you serious?
Flamenco.
I always thought it was flamingo.
No.
I'm not the only one who thinks that. I guarantee
I'm
you.
sure you're not.
I guarantee you I'm not.
Flamenco is the Spanish style of dance. Flamingos are birds. I'm assuming flamingo dancing would just be standing up on one leg. Anyway, Fuego FC comes to town tonight. And this is, I think, one that the Triumph need, like, desperately. Got to get back on the right side of things. This is a team, this is a squad that buffed up this year at the point of attack. They had to add some forwards because last year, the only weakness of this team was finishing, right? Played a very solid back four. The midfield created enough opportunities. We just could not put the ball in the net. So they went out. They got Leo Castro. That's a big pickup. They have spent some time working on the chemistry of Alex Cox-Ashwood, a phenomenal player. Liam McKinnon is up front now as well. So they've got a rotation of guys. And at this point, I've got to think, is just a fan, and we'll be talking with John Harkes later on in the week, that they figure out the chemistry. And once the chemistry gets figured out, the goals show up. They get the right couple of guys up front, and it's all on. Remember, they started off terribly last year, too, and made it to the league semifinals. Don't panic.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All right, time for Twitter Trending Topics. The first thing that's trending is Tim Curry.
Tim Curry is one of my favorite actors of all time, right? I saw a thing once that pointed out that I don't know about you, Zo, two of my favorite movies of all time, Muppet Treasure Island, Muppet Christmas Carol, right? And they are great for opposite reasons. In A Muppet Christmas Carol, which is the best version of A Christmas Carol ever put on film, it's great because Michael Caine treated the Muppets as if they were Shakespearean actors themselves. He's so deadly serious.
He's Michael Caine, though. I mean, that's
Right.
that's what he does.
And it works. It works. Muppet Treasure Island is great for the exact opposite reason. Tim Curry acted as if he was also a Muppet. And it made that movie so incredible. Rocky Horror Picture Show. If you've never seen it, see it. But more importantly, if you've never gone to a showing, a live interactive showing, do it. You will not have more fun. Tim Curry is a freaking legend.
And you get to throw stuff.
Correct.
Which is interesting. He's 77, by the way.
Tim Curry's the GOAT.
The next thing that's trending is Butterfinger.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. Butterfingers are overrated. All right. They're just an overrated candy.
I'm glad you said that. Here's the reason why they're trending. All right. One of those things, which one would you eliminate?
Sure.
And it's Twix, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, Snickers, and Three Musketeer bars, and Butterfinger.
Butterfinger's gone.
Yeah. I
Not
think
only
to say
is Butterfinger gone, I would probably get rid of one of the other ones to make sure Butterfinger's gone.
My son and I just had a discussion about this yesterday because one of his friends said they would go with the Baby Ruth anytime over Butterfinger.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because the Butterfinger's good, but all those other ones are better, and that's trending right now. The next thing that's trending is Goldberg.
Tony, listen to me, Tony. Don't do it, Tony. Don't do it. That's not why he's trending. Goldberg is trending because apparently he is furious that WWE didn't give him the retirement match he feels he deserves, like they didn't have him go over the most organically over character of the past 8 years when he knocked The Fiend out and won a title. Goldberg, stop, dude.
All right,
Stop.
so he has a legitimate gripe. If he was promised a retirement match, he should have gotten one. But yeah, that's why he's trending. The last thing that's trending, no, because only a few people know what that is. The 49ers are trending.
Oh, I got nothing for them.
Well,
They were inside the top 10 most valuable teams in sports this year.
they are trending because
They made a trade,
supposedly no, but they're shopping.
Shopping
People
Trey
are
Lance.
calling them. They're
Ah.
not shopping, but people are calling for Trey Lance.
In Rappaport reporting that the Niners have received inquiries from, quote, several teams, end quote, looking into a potential trade for the former number 3 pick, which, of course, why wouldn't you? Because who do you have at quarterback coming back? Brock Purdy! A goat. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the show. We hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Remember, next Thursday, Twin Peaks plan on meeting us there. We'll see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again on The Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Texter said, can you put a cam on Rob's glasses next Thursday? Stop being weirdos. Stop being weirdos. All right? Stop.
Oh, okay. It took me
There
a
you
second.
go.
Yeah, I got there.
Stop being weirdos, you weirdos. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a lovely rest of your Wednesday. If you are going to the Triumph game tonight, please come say hi if I haven't met you yet. Otherwise, see you tomorrow.
Hand hugs.
Bye.